A Crystalline 21 here with why was this card ever made. This time I'm doing Compulsory Evacuation device. I wanted to kind of talk about this card for a while. There's just a lot of stuff that I can say about it, but I'm only gonna stick to one thing about it because most of you guys already know, like rulings and stuff about it. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Phone's going off. Just give me 1 second. I just want to see what it's about. And it is okay. Alright. Compulsory evacuation device. I have seen a lot of people treat it like a fiendish chain. I consider them kind of the same, except for fiendish chain keeps it on the field and this sends it back to where it came from. That's really the main difference I can see about it. And yes, there are other differences. I'm not saying that there aren't. There are two different cards that do two different things. But in the situation that they are used in, that is really the only thing I see different about. A lot of times you use this because you don't want that monster effect to go off, so you send it back to where it came from. And then, when it's back where it came from, obviously you can't attack because it's not on the field. This just creates a dead spot on the field to where the effect is negated and it's off and it's on the field. No effect, no attacking. That's really only difference I see about them. And a lot of people are treating Compulse like it's a fiendish chain, where, like I just said, they're kind of the same. But I see this being better for extra deck cards. Like if they go Stardust Dragon for some reason, because they activate a Starlight Road, Compulse it, because it doesn't have to be chained upon the summon. So say after everything revolves, you activate your Heavy Storm, they activate Starlight Road. You had this set, they special summon their Stardust Dragon. After that chain resolves, you activate this. They can't do anything except for maybe Judgment or Bribe it, or 7 tools if they still run that. That's really all they can do is stop it. And then there you gotta +0. But if they summoned it normally, which you're giving them for synchro summon, you're giving them the option to, but they'd have to get their tuners out, their normal monsters, which sometimes is easy to do depending on what deck you run. But some decks just don't synchro summon like they normally do. With the Synchron deck, compulsing their synchro monsters can really stall them out, because yes, they synchro summon a lot, but a lot of times they have to do a lot to get that out, waste a lot of monsters and do a bunch of stuff by using the monsters effect, and you don't let them use the monsters effect and all that stuff. But mainly I see this being really extra deck cards because you normally plus off of it. And I'll explain a little bit. Say they synchro summon for Wind Up Zen Mighty. Then you activate Compulse. Send that back to the extra deck, and then you get a +2. Why? Because they had to waste 2 cards to get that monster on the field. Then you use 1 card to use it to get that monster off the field. So therefore, you +1. This is the same with Bottomless. Bottomless, I mean, I wouldn't really consider Judgment because you're paying half your life points. So I wouldn't. Judgment, I just said Judgment. Warning, I wouldn't because you have to pay 2,000. Really, Bottomless and this, you can easily get +1 with extra deck cards, but I would rather use it on Synchro monsters than Seed monsters, because Seed monsters are just so insanely easy to get out. sometimes. Um, but yeah, just give me a second here. Just got. Uh, all right. I would much rather bottomless their XYZ material monster or XYZ monster because them banishing it, they would have to, for it to get any materials back, they would have to put it back in the extra deck, which then they would have to waste a lot of resources to do that. Where with bottomless and synchro monsters, they can just find a way to get it back out on the field with one card. Two, then they can either attack or use its effect. Where if you send it back to the extra deck, they have to synchro summon it again. So therefore, they're wasting more resources than what they would if you banish it. So really, I say this is really the only reason I say main deck this at 1, because not a lot of people synchro summon anymore. And really, besides the Synchron deck and Infernities and some other decks that have the option to, because they have tuners, like Sit Sams, pop the Chien upon summon. Yeah, no priority, can't activate effect. They have to waste more. They have to wait a turn to waste more materials to be able to special summon it back again. Which normally wouldn't take that long, but it's also because they'd be able to special summon more because they have a Sit Sam monster out in the field, so they can go into more. So by stalling them out and putting their Chien back in their deck, their extra deck, can make the duel last a little bit longer so you can get your plays off if your opponent's a little bit faster. That's why I say save this for extra deck cards, because I mean, if you have to, like they're heavy storming you and they got a couple monsters on the field, and you want MST with their highest attack monster, do it. But that's like, if it's gonna be destroyed and you don't have an option to wait for the opportune moment, use it, because then you're not wasting it. You're making them waste a card, and then you get a +1 off it because they lost one card, or no, they lost 2 cards, you lost 1 card. At least in that situation, they heavy storm you and you have 5 card set and Compulse, Bottomless, Warning, stuff like that, and you don't have a solid road. Activate it because you're gonna get at least get 1 card off of there, so you're not minusing as much. So yeah, another good thing about this is it doesn't have to be activated at summon like Bottomless. I mean, that's why you consider it almost like a Fiendish Chain, because this can be activated whenever. It doesn't have to be activated upon summon. But a lot of people activate it upon summon because everyone knows you go Red Eye, it's darkness, they're going to use its effect as soon as possible. So you're going to want Fiendish Chain it as soon as possible, or Compulse it as soon as possible before they activate its effect. So there's a situation where you don't want to wait or anything. But that's the only thing I really like about Compulse is you don't have to wait to be able to use it. Or you don't have to wait for a certain time. You don't have to wait for them to summon a monster to activate it like Bottomless. You can just activate it whenever. It's like in phase, you had that monster. You don't want to make sure they weren't gonna do anything, or make sure you had a clear field so you can Bottomless that and do something else, or Compulse it. Bottomless it. Sorry. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about Compulse. I see it as a very good extra deck card, but not target main deck cards. A lot of people will use it for Thunder Kings, but really Thunder King is only used in anti-meta decks where there are better targets. I mean, yeah, if you desperately need to add a card from your deck to your hand, Compulse it and get that extra turn that you need. But there are better options for it, or just or just activate Chalice so you can do it. Activate Fiendish Chain so you can do it, and save this for the extra deck if they're running them. Like heroes, you not want them to get shiny now. So you want to compulse their element hero to shiny. And right there you will get a +2 because they have to use their Polymerization or Miracle Fusion or Super Poly, which then they're going to be minusing a little bit more. Then change upon summon, and you get pluses. That's an easy thing to say. You get pluses off of this if you time it right. If you just randomly use it, you're normally just going to get a +0. And what good does that do? You want to time it right and make sure that you use it on a big boss monster that is hard to get out and that they rarely use. This is Crystalline21. I'm going to say peace, peace, and peace.